What is going on, everybody? Paul here, coming at you with a crypto coffee update. And you know what it is. We have all the news, conferences, events, everything you want to see coming out of the world of crypto. And we got a very special and important episode to talk about today. But first, before we get into anything, you know what we got to do. Simultaneous sip with your buddy Paul. Good stuff. I need fuel for my research, and coffee does the best job. Sorry, tea, you gotta take a back seat. Alright, let's go ahead and jump into what we got today. Bitcoin is the evil spawn of the financial crisis, according to the European Central Bank board member. Now, this is a pretty high-ranking official, so to use moralistic language like evil when talking about a technology, a financial technology no less, is I was at a loss for words really when I first saw this. I was like, oh, it's kind of interesting, but it makes reasonable sense given that cryptocurrencies by and large are a threat to this business model. And then I pulled a, or are they? Seriously though, this is something that I wanted to get into and talk about because it's a sensitive subject for many individuals, and we've kind of entered into a place in the crypto space where, for instance, today on the 15th, we're having a fork between Bitcoin Cash ABC and Bitcoin Cash SV. Those are two camps that want to do different things, and there's been all kinds of drama and ideologies hurtled over the fence at each other. But I think we're losing sight of something very important that I want to get into. What is crypto even? What is blockchain even? And how are these muddy definitions affecting the perception of the industry as a whole, and actually perhaps serving to stymie a lot of the potential growth and good that these technologies could have for the wider human race at large? So let's go ahead and expand upon what I'm talking about and expand upon this individual here who's talking about evil cryptocurrencies. It's so easy these days in this space, so easy to simply take the default position of, come on, we got this revolutionary new technology that's bringing transparency to your industry, bud. So frankly, I think you're just talking out of your behind and worried that this is coming for your job. That's such a simple explanation, and you can justify it. I mean, look at the ECB balance sheet. It's gone through the roof. They basically wrecked the entire economy by buying up what was largely failing assets. Now you have things like the Italian banking crisis, which many of the banks still have huge non-performing loan ratios, which is detrimental to the health of any financial industry. Or a financial institution, rather. You have the German issue with their growth slowing down, France with Macron and the just plummeting approval rating. Just today, Theresa May looks like she's losing support for her Brexit deal, so Europe is falling apart. And frankly, that's kind of what happens when you have this many central bank assets just ballooning out of control. I mean, Japan's a different story, being a 99% ethnically homogenous society. They don't have that fracturing issue in terms of breaking up geopolitically, but nonetheless, it's come with a lot of economic woes. So it's easy to say these guys have failed in their duty, and they very well have. But that doesn't mean that cryptocurrency has the right to just walk right in and say, well, we're going to be the next big thing. You got to prove that. You have to build out these systems. And when I say you, not you personally, my dear friends and user, but we as a people, we as individuals need to build in our own speciality, communicate with one another, bridge these gaps in the industry to create and foster better understanding and build something that means something and can be applicable to a use case, but not every use case. Because that's just how things are. Digital ledger technology, blockchain, distributed ledger technology, I always get those ones kick-flipped. Point of the matter being, these technologies at large, they have a history. They have a precedent, and they're not that new. Blockchain comes from 1991, the idea of having sequential blocks ordered using Merkle tree roots. Actually, Merkle tree roots came a little bit later in 93, but suffice to say, it's these three individuals. Oh wait, no, these two individuals, Scott Stornett and Stuart Harbord. Three of the citations in Satoshi's white paper, of which there are only 8, were for these guys. They built blockchain, but they didn't figure out how to solve the double spend problem. That's what Satoshi did. He fixed the double spend problem. So could it be said that Satoshi really ruined the concept of blockchain because he innovated upon it? No. I would say, in fact, maybe he's the individual. In fact, I think I'd be very in a good place to say he's the individual who made the concept of blockchain possible. So why would innovation stop there? Like, I had this conversation earlier today, and I'm getting a little off script here. I had an idea of where I'm going to be going, but really, I think this is so important. I had this conversation earlier today about the Bitcoin Cash debate. Neither of them are Bitcoin if you're going to go with a pedantic, ideological rooted definition like the Bitcoin white paper, because neither of them adhere to the same Bitcoin protocol. BTC uses SegWit. Boom, it's out. Bitcoin Cash increased the block size. Boom, it's out. There you go. There's no such thing as Bitcoin anymore. These are all just technologies that have been invented upon and built out, and that's totally natural. Yeah, you're going to have centralized databases like EOS that are, are they a blockchain? Well, that depends on your definition. For personally, I don't think they are, because the way the blocks are ordered is completely dependent on some individuals, 21 of them to be specific. But that doesn't mean it's not a blockchain. Just because it's not a blockchain proper doesn't mean that it doesn't have an applicable use case. I mean, that way they may well grow out to be one of the most used systems in the world. Frankly, it is right now. So that doesn't make it good nor bad. It's not a moralistic argument. Kind of going back to the meat of the matter, to drag morals into technology is very applicable. Ethics is huge and should always be considered in human action. But to say that technology is intrinsically evil is a bit short-sighted. It's a piece of machinery. It's what human action does with that machinery. How we build these things from 1991 to 1997, from 1997 to 2008, 2008 to 2018, here we are. Of course things are going to look different. It's just how life is. Do I really need a blockchain? I don't know. This is the biggest question. Because it's not applicable everywhere. Blockchain is not the solution to all of humanity's woes. It's just a technology. And I really appreciate this gentleman, Shashank Patekar, I hope I didn't butcher his name there. He wrote this fantastic article about, do you need a blockchain? He took a level-headed approach to figure out, basically, where it may or may not be applicable. Perhaps. Because it's completely dependent on human action. And what he brought up was what I think a fantastic example of what we see a lot of the times now in the cryptocurrency space. Things that really perhaps lead to statements like this from high-ranking officials saying that, look, this is evil, this is horrible. It may not just be from fear of losing authority or losing control over the financial system or having failures of financial policy management come to light and look bad as an egg in the face of these kind of people. Perhaps it could be a legitimate worry about how the crypto space conducts itself, despite it being only a decade old. Kodak, for instance. From this article, this individual brought up a great point about Kodak, and I almost forgot about them, honestly. Kodak decided they were going to use a blockchain for what we still don't know. It was a half-baked idea and a last blitz effort to try and garnish some kind of capital from a company that failed to innovate in the face of modern technology and largely lost its place as the predominant film company and slipped into irrelevancy and eventually bankruptcy. And this, from Carisdale Capital, this analysis just destroys the notion that Kodak knows what they're doing. The PR group has a checkered past, as was said, and it goes into this, all of this in the 22-page document, worth a read. But suffice to say, it was just hype. It was literally smoke and mirrors. It was the pets.com, I guess. Perhaps not even that, because they never even built out the system. Here's a New York Times article talking about it. I stopped here on this wonderful infographic, because I've been in this space for a good while, and I know a good bit about technology. That's not my specialty. I'm a research officer. That's what I do, So when it comes to the actual technical aspects, I have a good understanding, but that's not my field. That's not my specialty. But still, looking at this may make sense from a technical perspective, but there's so much going on, it just looks mostly like buzzwords. And there's something that I try and apply in my own research called the KISS principle. K-I-S-S. It's called keep it simple, stupid. Simple as that. Keep it simple, stupid. You don't really need to be overcomplicated. And a more eloquent way of saying that is Occam's razor. Oftentimes, the most elegant, simple solution is the most applicable and is the closest to the truth. And when you have these super hype things coming out, it doesn't look good for the space, and a lot of the times you add in a level of technicality that presents more vectors of potential vulnerability than it does solutions to potential problems. Because after all, again, this is a very simple technology. Simply ordering blocks one after the other. Now, I know there's probably some technical individuals out there with pitchforks and torches like, no, he did not just say blockchain is relatively simple. But relatively, right? Relatively simple. Maybe to open heart surgery or, putting a man on the moon. It's relatively simple. Just takes time and has very niche applicability. And going back to the perception of the space, there's some smaller channels that do stuff like this. I don't want to call out any smaller channels, give them bad flack or anything like that. But people like Ian Bellina, this guy was shown to be a scammer. Like, they followed the addresses of where this stuff was transferred to, his crypto, and he's basically trying to commit tax evasion by saying, help, my crypto was stolen. Then he participates in an airdrop, and it seems he put in the stolen crypto address. So that was kind of weird. Just hype. Hype, all the time. Filicone, hype. What's the next big coin? The next big ICO, the next big thing. And pay no attention to the fact that 81% of ICOs were found to be scams. The focus should not be on finding the next big pump. The focus should be on cleaning up the space so that this kind of perception, it can be seen as completely unfounded and can be attributed to simple fear over cryptocurrency rising and taking away the financial authority of these institutions, but it's not. Because the space is so immature, and frankly, the individuals in the space as well are so immature that, from the looks of things, it's going to take some time for this technology to be viewed with a level head. After all, there's a rule of thumb: we as humans generally overestimate technology's impact in the short term, but we grow bored of things, and we look for predictability, and we become complacent with it. So, with that said, we also underestimate the impact of this technology over the long term. So, with that said, just wanted to get those thoughts out there. Let me know what you thought of this kind of stuff. I know you might have been expecting a Bitcoin Cash ABC SV breakdown today, but we're going to wait for some of the drama to occur and then break it down post ex facto so I can give you the most juicy tidbits and not waste your time with all the stuff that's still happening coming at you live. So, with that said, let's go ahead and look at what's going on for Friday and over the weekend, starting with November 16th. So, for November 16th, Friday, we have the Brazil Conference on Bitcoin and Crypto, Blockchain Fiesta in Poland, and crypto finance happening in Oslo, Norway. For Saturday, November 17th, the Blockchain and Sharing Economy Applications, or BlockSEA 2018, is happening in Singapore. And nothing really going on Sunday, November 18th, not even on the B list. Very quiet kind of day, so good time to kick your feet up, read some articles, and just relax with those you love. With that said, as usual, all the links below in the description. Of course, you gotta cite your sources. As said, I found this Kodak study from an individual who was citing his sources. So that's how we grow the cryptocurrency space to be the best it could possibly be. That and maintaining objective dialogue to the best of our ability, as we realize we're just looking for solutions and having conversation and dialogue. And it would just be me talking to myself without you guys, so I appreciate you being here to listen and allowing us to create this dialogue. Feel free to leave a comment below, share your thoughts. For now, this is Paul signing off. Much love, guys. We are Cryptide, and remember, the tide is rising. As is, I do hope, the integrity in the crypto space.